Hi there folks, my name is Paul Bars from paulbars.com Internet Business Training Centre. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this very quick video. I wanted to do a tutorial for those out there who are, I guess, getting started. More of the newbie type thing. We're going to talk about the 10 key factors for successful on-page SEO. Now, if you want to get found in search engines, this is one of the key factors. Not the only one, but it is one of about half a dozen major key factors on page SEO. And I guess that in itself requires a quick explanation for those who haven't come across the term. First of all, SEO, Search Engine Optimisation, the art of getting found in the search engines. One of the things we do is we optimize. We do the best with our websites that we can to get found. On-page versus off-page SEO refers to the work that we do on the pages of our website. And that's specifically what I'll be talking about today. Just going through these 10 key factors. Now, let me just throw this in up front right now. You don't need to do all of these to be successful. You don't. You don't need to be technically minded. No, you don't. There's a myth out there that if you don't do all of these things, you won't get anywhere. That's rubbish. That is absolute rubbish. But what I'm going to show you today in this quick video is how you can just begin to grasp the concepts of how it can work. And I can tell you now that over time, these things that we're talking about will come to you all on their own. So let's start off with this first one. This is the basics. Include your primary keyword in the H1, the header 1 text, your page title. Now, there are different ways of building websites, whether we're using Joomla or WordPress or HTML or PHP or whatever you're using. At some point, that gets rendered into code for it to then go up on the web. You may not be working in the code, but there will be something in there in your WYSIWYG, your what you see is what you get editor, which will allow you to change a section of text to H1 header. Now, hopefully, you'll see the screen caps, the images that I've just got here with the arrows pointing to the different sections as we go through these 10 different areas. Hopefully, the template that you're using, if it's WordPress, which I do for the moment, will turn your page titles into H1 header tags. Now, in this particular example, because this is about on-page SEO, then in all examples, my keyword phrase, my primary keyword title that I'm looking to target would be on-page SEO. Okay, and I've had just a special blog post put together here to illustrate this. So you can see here that on-page SEO primary factors, that is a H1 header tag. You can also see it in a different font above that, the 10 key factors for successful on-page SEO. That would appear differently because the template actually showed it up, the way that the styling of this template displayed it. So this is Bare Basics 101. Everything you write, whatever the title of it is, your primary keyword or keyword phrase, 2 to 3 words preferably, will be in your title. That's important. Next one, again, your primary keyword needs to be in the H2 text, like a subheading. You can see here I have the above text on page SEO primary factors. Just down, next paragraph, a subheading, which is a H2 tag, on page SEO secondary factors. And this is a good, strong factor in getting this on-page search engine optimization for your page. So yes, you want to have a H1 heading tag. I also believe it is important to throw in a H2 header tag in there, a subheading at some point. Also worthwhile putting in your primary keyword into any images that are there. Now you can see here I've just got the right click on that little image down there, and it's called, just near the arrow, on-page-seo.jpg. It's a JPEG image. It's called on-page SEO. Now here's the thing. Is that going to make a huge difference? No, it's not going to make a huge difference. But Sometimes it can make a small difference, and if it's a small difference between you and the other 50 who don't do it, that small difference can give you the small slight edge. That's what makes it worthwhile. I also think it's just a good habit, particularly if you're doing blog posting, to name your images for the particular posts along with your primary keyword for that post. Why? So as you're going through your media files, if you want to go back and have a look at something, it's easy to find where that image has been used. And of course, you keep your backups and all this type of thing. It's easier to put them back where they came from should you ever need to. But putting that aside, that's got nothing to do with SEO. This is on-page search engine optimization, and calling images by the primary keyword is just a good habit to get into. Now, this one here is probably more important, the alt tag, part of the image. Now, the alternative text, this is what would appear if someone had their images turned off. And this happens, particularly if you have something sent by email these days, and maybe your RSS feed from your WordPress blog could be going out through, well, I have mine going out through FeedBurner. And at this point of time, I have, hundreds of subscribers to that, and they receive it by email through FeedBurner. So unless they have their images turned on, they're not going to see the image. What they would see is the alternative text. And you can see there next to the arrow, the alt text for this one is on-page SEO techniques. Again, it's just a small thing when it comes to it, but this is actual text. This is probably even more important than calling the image what it's called. It's just a good habit to get into these types of things, and maybe if you haven't already started doing this, you could just grab a pen and paper, rewind the video a couple of moments, and just take some notes of what these different things are so you get into the habit of actually doing them. Another good habit, and this is debatable. Honestly, it is. Make your primary keyword bold. Yeah, okay. Like the search engines really care. Well, no, actually, I don't think they do really care. And personally, I think it looks silly if you just happen to have that flashing out there in bold and it doesn't really look good on the page. So maybe you might want to just bold the sentence, perhaps, to make it look a bit more important. I believe it's more important to write for people than it is for search engine bots. Because no matter what happens, in the long run, it's people that we get onto the page. Yeah? Now, this is one of the things that the SEO internet marketing purists will say, oh, you've got to do that. And they'll do the same thing with this one as well. Make your primary keyword italic. Oh, you've got to do that. And then the next one as well. Oh, you've got to underline that primary keyword somewhere on the page as well. Well, actually, no, you don't. If it looks good and if it's going to emphasize a point for the people that come to your page, then do this. But it can look silly. And it can make it so people come to your page and go, who is this idiot that doesn't know how to write, who doesn't know how to format, who doesn't know how to structure the content of a page? It looks stupid. You don't want your customers thinking like that. So only do this if it's going to enhance, to illustrate a point, to emphasize something. I do that all the time because obviously in text we don't have our voice. We can't speak softly when required, and we can't yell when it's necessary to grab people's attention. But we can use italics. We can use an underline if we want someone to pause. We can use italics if we want them to run over it and think fast, to illustrate how we might be speaking, bold to point out that statement. So these things are not essential, but they are part of these top 10. Of course, the next one there you can already see, but let's move on to the slide. Make your primary keyword a text link to the same page. Interesting. Again, I'm here to let you know what people are teaching. Is this one necessary? I don't believe so. I believe that having links on other pages back to this page with your keyword text, your phrase, I think that's important, but not so much linking on there to your own page. I mean, think about this. What is the point? Someone reading through, oh, look, there's a link. Click. Oh, I'm back to the start of my page. Well, that was dumb. Remember, No matter what you do for your search engines, the people that get on there have to think highly of you. Otherwise, they're not going to want to buy your stuff. Because if they think you're stupid, then they're not going to buy your stuff. So don't get caught up in all the tricks and the little things. So make your primary keyword a text link to the same page. No, I've left this one in here because I wanted to say not to the same page, but have text links on other pages coming back to it. 6 throughout your website. That's all it would need if you have a particular strong page. Okay. This one, however, quite relevant. Make your primary keyword a text link to the home page. I think that should be in there at some point. Now, this is, of course, assuming that your website is about a particular thing. For example, mine, Internet Business Training. You will find there are places on my website, Internet Business Training, and it links back to the main page. Okay, if you search out currently, as I record this, it could change this afternoon, it could change next month, but currently you look for Internet Business Training in Google, chances are you'll find me on page number 1, no matter what country you're in. Of course, well, there is all custom searching and all that kind of stuff, which tends to make things a bit screwy, but I know that with those things removed, it's there. So I think it's worthwhile throwing in some of these back to your main page at some point, particularly when we look at this next one. And this is really, I guess, one of the key issues. This is more important than anything other than the 2 header tags and that one text, which I mentioned before, the one text link, which I mentioned before. The LSI, the latent semantic indexing. We want to include related search terms within your content. This is called LSI. Now, LSI is actually a mathematical formula. And I'm not going to go into it. You can go to Wiki and have a good look around if you want to find out more about it. But basically, you can see here underlined on page SEO, SEO optimization, internet marketing SEO. Now, perhaps that's not the best example. On page SEO, perhaps the next one should be search engine optimization. And then another one would be optimization for search engines. Different ways of saying this. And you only need 3 or 4. I mean, some people will say that we need a keyword density of around 1.5, 1.8, maybe 2%. Oh, yawn. Folks, it's not that important. Okay, it's not that important. There are plugins that you can get for WordPress these days that will automatically do all of this for you. All of it, all 10. And will make your pages look stupid. I'm sorry, there's no other way for me to say that. That you'll really get the point. Silly. All right, it's going to make the work and the pages look dumb. I strongly suggest that you don't do that. But this is what people are out there teaching right now. Here's what I believe we should have to wrap this up. So let's just narrow it down. I always talk about the magic half dozen, don't I? In my training, the magic half a dozen things that can always make the biggest difference. I want you to grab a pen and paper for me. If you haven't yet taken notes, grab a pen and paper and write these down. The magic about half a dozen. Number 1 is the H1 header tag. Very important. Number 2, yes, use a H2 in there. Maybe even a H3 as well at some point. If it looks good on the page, don't make it look silly. But H1, H2, there's your first 2 points. Now, I haven't even said so in here, but this is important. You also want to call your page name and somehow use your primary targeting search phrase in there. That's important. So, on page SEO.html, for example, that would be important. This wasn't even in there. But it is more important than what most of them are teaching these days. Do I also think that you should have some text links across your page with hyperlinks in your text? Yes, but not necessarily on the same page to that page. I believe that you should have at least half a dozen, if it's a big site, a dozen or more, links from other pages with your primary keyword back to that page. Now, of course, that can be one ripe royal pain in the butt to do if you're going to do it manually. There are plugins, there are tools out there that will do that for you. Okay? Very, very easy to do. And you can get them for free. Let me just throw that in. You can get them for free just downloading from WordPress. You don't need to go and pay for this stuff. So that's what? 4 different things that we've got so far? Okay. 4. Let me give you one more, and it's this one right here. The latent semantic indexing. Having some related keyword phrases on the page. That gives us 5. Not quite half a dozen. It's about half a dozen. And that's the key to success. You'll get people out there trying to sell you this, this plugin will do these 10 things for you. Well, yeah, it will. It will make your pages look silly. Okay? It will do too much, which you really don't want to do. I've given you the top 5 out of these 10 that's important. And they're the ones that you should remember. And that was my goal just for recording this video. Interesting enough, and let me just throw this out there to wrap up. When I first saw this sort of top 10 list, I saw it elsewhere on the web, and I thought I'm going to record a video out of that. And I thought, yeah, and I'm even going to link it to the plugin that sells and recommends this thing. Might make myself a few bucks, but honestly, as I've been going through now just these past 10 minutes and recording this, no, I'm not going to do that because it just clicked. It occurred to me. It would make your pages look silly. It will make them look stupid. It will make people who come to your web page think you're an idiot who doesn't know, honestly, who doesn't know how to write well and format and structure a web page. Now, I guess here's the truth. If you're just building websites for AdSense or CPA or something like that and you don't give a damn about your customers, knock yourself out. It might help. I still think it's too much, but it might help. But if you're selling products, which is what I teach people how to do through paulbars.com with my internet business training, if you're selling products online and you want people to go, yes, this is a good product from a good person, from a good company, then absolutely you go with the 5, not the 10. And you be more careful about what people see on your pages. Does that make sense? I hope so. I've even diverted away as I've been recording this from what my original goal was because it occurred to me that not everything in amongst all of these things are actually necessary. My goodness, how easy it is for us to see stuff and just think, hey, this looks exciting. This looks like something I can learn from. This looks like something I can do really, really easily. And when I first saw this top 10 list, I thought, hey, I can record a video of that, make some money. But you know what? I'd rather you make the money. Seriously. Okay? You have a great day. This is Paul Bars from paulbars.com. Signing off. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. I'm absolutely sick of it. There's so much hype online these days, it makes me want a bucket.
This is by far the most information we've seen in one place for such a crazy price. Excellent stuff.
Hey Paul, didn't anybody ever tell you that you're not supposed to give away this much content?
You won't find an internet marketing course more comprehensive than this.